The burger was better than the movie. This may be a surprise to some people, but I am a huge dinosaur fan. And I'm not just talking fan, I am a very big nerd when it comes to prehistoric wildlife. And I owe all of that to this very special movie. Now, I don't think I need to explain how or why Jurassic Park is an amazing and iconic film. It's all been said already. This movie made dinosaurs as popular as they are and is one of the best movies ever made. The sequels are a different story. Out of the 5 Jurassic Park sequels, only one of them is an actually decent movie, and that's Jurassic World. While it's a very flawed film, I still had a good time with it, and it's the only one out of the 4 that's enjoyable to me. Lost World was boring, Jurassic Park 3 felt like a fever dream, and Fallen Kingdom's one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. That movie turned this franchise into Transformers, basically, but just with dinosaurs. It ruined all the magic that the original film had by showcasing dinosaurs on the big screen, and made them just monsters that fight each other for no reason. And this is coming from a big kaiju fan. The characters were either annoying or just horribly written, the story was a mess, the writing felt like it was done by a child, and... do I really need to mention her? So after Fallen Kingdom basically killed the franchise for me, I was not excited for Dominion. I was grateful that this was going to be the last movie so they can finally stop, but I knew it wasn't going to be a satisfying conclusion. I went in expecting a dumb fun movie with dinosaurs, and I still got that. The movie still sucks though, so hold on to your butts, because this one's going to have a lot of rambling. Now yeah, I knew what I was getting into, but the movie still has a lot of problems that are just too annoying to ignore. I mean, just because I knew the movie was going to have them doesn't mean that that's an excuse for them to be in there in the first place. I'll start by going over the stuff I like, since there's only a little bit. The returning characters are actually done kinda good. One of my concerns was that they were only bringing in the OG3 for nostalgia purposes, and while yeah, we pretty much all know that's the primary reason they're back, I'm still surprised that they were handled somewhat well. Sattler and Malcolm are actually important to the plot and still act like their characters back in the original movie. Grant is pretty much the only character in the movie that didn't really need to be there. He really only gets involved because he's horny and he's just like a confused old man the entirety of the film. Oh yeah, and coming back to Malcolm, I absolutely loved him in this movie. His performance was just so funny and wacky that I swear Jeff Goldblum didn't even get a script and was just making that shit up. The evil CEO was also really funny. I like that he wasn't 100% cliche evil, but was just kind of weird and awkward. He really made every scene funnier to me. The side characters are actually kinda cool. Kayla was badass and Ramsey was okay. I was actually kind of enjoying myself for a bit during the second act. Yeah, it was a big dumb dino action fest, but I was expecting that. Unlike Fallen Kingdom, which felt like it was written by a child, this movie felt like it was written by people who just didn't really care and wanted to make a fun action movie, which I respect. I actually got like Saturday morning cartoon vibes from the second act. If this movie was just our characters traveling the globe to capture dinosaurs, I would have been fine with that. The dino action sequences in the first and second act are actually warranted. They don't show up out of nowhere just to do cool shit for no reason, unlike Fallen Kingdom. Until you get to the third act. This is where all of my criticisms come into play. The third act is just awful. The dinosaurs just start showing up in scenes for no reason at all, so that we don't get bored like that scene with Dimetrodon in the cave. And yes, I know, Dimetrodon isn't a real dinosaur. Rexy just shows up out of nowhere for a 5-second fight, only to then show up again in the final fight, which is just awful, but I'll get to that later. The pacing and runtime of this movie is another big issue. The pacing by itself is actually decent. The movie is pretty fast, but it's mostly filled with action, so it's not an issue for me. But the movie is just too damn long. This is a 2.5 hour long movie. A movie which is pretty much only filled with action sequences. Once we're in the third act, the action just gets boring, repetitive, and again, unnecessary. Once the Giga shows up at the tower, my eyes just glazed over at the sound of roaring and screaming. If your dinosaur movie is capable of making a dinosaur fan get dinosaur fatigue, then I think you did something wrong. The story is just really weird. You would think the final film of the Jurassic Park franchise would be focused around the dinosaurs being important, but they're weirdly not the focus of the movie. And no, having 50 dinosaur fight scenes doesn't count as them being important, that's just bad writing. The actual plot is about an evil corporation who makes bugs that are too strong and now they're trying to fix it. That's it. The dinos have little to no involvement in this story. It's revealed that the evil company is using dino DNA to make the evil bugs, but did they really need to? Dr. Wu is proven to be this mad evil genius. Did he really need dinosaur DNA just to make bugs? It would have made sense if they were prehistoric bugs, but they aren't. They're just big bugs. How is the main focus of your dinosaur movie going to be bugs? You have all these dinosaurs out on the loose and you want to focus on that? The Mosasaurus isn't even in this movie at all, and she was the coolest part of Jurassic World. This is where the final fight comes in. This is probably the worst final fight from any movie. We have Rexy, the iconic dinosaur from the original film, fighting the Giganotosaur, the new big bad, and they aren't important to this film at all. Dr. Grant says it best when he says it's not about us. He's right. This final fight is completely useless, and it's pretty much the culmination of the three biggest issues with the movie. We have an unnecessary action sequence that increases the runtime for no reason. The dinosaurs show up for no reason other than to fight each other, and those same dinosaurs aren't even important to the plot. You're supposed to watch the prologue to the movie, but I mean, come on. Trevorrow, were you really expecting every single person who watched your movie to have watched the prologue that you uploaded to YouTube? Hold on, let me see what else Trevorrow has made so far. Well, that explains it. And I cannot stand how the story ends in the exact same way the last movie ended. Nothing has changed. We still have dinosaurs out on the loose, and our three main characters did not have any arc at all. Speaking of the main characters, now they're just laughably boring. Chris Pratt has been the same guy for all three movies, and I actually liked Claire in the first Jurassic World. She was by far my favorite character since she was the only one with an arc, but now she's just another generic action hero. Macy being a clone still annoys me to this day, and her character arc isn't even the one that she started with. Another big issue I have is the theme of the film. I have that in quotation marks because the theme of these movies has been beaten to death, and I'm so tired of it. We've been getting the same speech about how humans need to coexist with dinosaurs to save our planet so we can learn something about ourselves and blah blah blah, social commentary, and I'm sick of it. Not because the actual message is bad, but because these movies are garbage and don't warrant the proper spotlight for this issue. If you want to make a dumb dino movie, then fine. Go for it. Have a blast. But don't slap on this message about how our planet needs saving because it's disingenuous and is only in the script so that Colin Trevorrow can somewhat be confident in himself for calling this a proper movie. That was genuine anger. I'm sorry you had to hear that. So yeah, to no one's surprise, this movie's bad and does not serve as a grand finale to the Jurassic Park franchise. It's not as bad as Fallen Kingdom, but it definitely has the same level of quality. This sucks to see two iconic titles in film have unsatisfying endings to their franchises, who were both handled by the same guy. I've learned that I don't like Colin Trevorrow. I know I shouldn't really expect reboots and remakes to be good, but am I really in the wrong for still getting angry about them? Should I really just be complacent that these corporate cash grabs just keep getting made and are getting worse and worse as time goes on? See, that's how you slap on a message about the world. 4 out of 10, this movie sucks butts.